truly good speakers know that it is not about them. It is about the audience. It is about being of service. It is about how can I connect?
I'm Becca Poutney, wedding business marketing expert, speaker and blogger, and you're listening to the Wedding Pros Who Are Ready to Grow podcast. I'm here to share with you actionable tips, strategies and real life examples to help you take your wedding business to the next level. If you are an ambitious wedding business owner that wants to take your passion and use it to build a profitable, sustainable business doing what you love, then you're in the right place. Let's get going with today's episode. Today, I'm chatting with Renee Dallow. As the founder of Moxie Bright Events, she's lived and breathed wedding planning. Renee is now best known as an international keynote speaker, visibility coach, and founder of the Verve and Vision Club. She's spoken at Wedding MBA in Las Vegas for the last 9 years and is one of their highest rated speakers. This March, she's going to be joining me in both Ireland and London for Wed Pros Live, and I cannot wait. She is truly fabulous. Renee, welcome back to the podcast.
I know it is a welcome back, isn't it? It's my second time.
This is your second time, and I looked back to find out when your first time was, and I'm going to tell you, the 5th of January, 2023.
Ooh, that was a whole other person ago.
Yeah, that was a whole 3 years ago. That episode, Stop Hiding, Get Visible, was episode 42 of my podcast. If anyone wants to go back and listen, feel free. But today, let's give everyone, if they don't know who you are yet, a quick recap. Just tell everyone briefly who you are, what you do.
Oh, I mean, you said all the things, but I've been in the wedding industry. It feels like forever. It's been like 15 years of just knowing and loving this community. And, I am also a Coactive certified life coach, which I didn't think was a real job. But then the pandemic really hit California, where I live, really hard. So I wasn't able to plan weddings for about 18 months. So I took a big pivot and went into, I literally went to life coaching school for 2 years, and I had to do 300 practical hours, and it was like a big undertaking. And I love that I did that, though, because it really does inform a lot of the education, especially what I'm going to be talking about at Wed Pro Live, like habits and 1% level ups. Like some of that is, I don't know, I feel like for some people it might not seem to be intimately connected to what we do as business owners, but of course we both know everything is connected. So
yeah, it absolutely is. And the more I speak on stage, the more I find myself leaning into the different mindset stuff, because so often that's what's holding people back from taking action. Yep. You know that, I know that, but sometimes people need to hear that for themselves. Now, you said this is a whole nother you from 3 years ago. So tell me, or tell the listeners, what shifted for you in your business over the last 3 years?
Well, I stopped wedding planning, and that was a big one. And I think if anyone listening has ever done something like that, like I spent years with my business as my baby, my child, right? And then it comes to a point where you realize that maybe you've outgrown it, or your interest has waned for it, or something else has taken your attention. And I think it's important to honor those shifts. And I think it took me a long time to, I want to say like remove myself, but that isn't really what I want to say. It's sort of like wind down that part of my career. And that's why I say it's a whole other person ago, because like so much has changed. And I think, especially for business owners, a lot of our identity can be wrapped up in what we do. And I kind of had to unravel that a bit.
Yeah. And I feel like as an educator as well, there's this kind of fear of stepping completely outside of the industry. Yeah. I remember even when I stopped my videography, like I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to tell people I'm stopping it, because then they'll be like, well, she doesn't still work in the industry.
Right. Yeah. I think the lessons that we learn from our time in the industry, I don't think that ever really goes away. And as long as we're still connected, and I'm still coaching, and I'm obviously I'm very clued into everything that's going on. So I think that's the most important part, still having an interest in all of that. I think that's what keeps us sort of fresh and also up with trends. And a lot of that has to do with how our clients are receiving information. And right now that happens to be social media in very many levels. So I think as long as you're still clued into that, you're good.
Absolutely. And also, some of the best educators that I know in the wedding industry have never even worked in the wedding industry, but it doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about, because they bring a whole lot of experience. So I feel like that's a fallacy anyway. Anyone can be an educator as long as they know their stuff and they're clued up on their stuff and they love this industry, because we have to love this industry. Otherwise, what are we doing? Would be crazy. Yeah, exactly. We're crazy to work in it. So this year, 2026, I think there's been some huge shifts in the industry. You alluded to it there a little bit. You meet with a lot of people. I meet with a lot of people. What are you seeing out there in terms of shifts right now as we're in 2026?
Well, okay. I think there's two big ones. I think one, we are at least in the States, in America, living through some pretty wild political times. And most days when we wake up and grab our phones, which statistically that is the first thing that people do every single morning, we are confronted with some pretty scary stuff, right? And so things feel heavy these days. And running a business, especially for a mom and pop, a small business owner, it can feel very complicated because it's like, well, we have to still sell, we have to still promote, we have to still show up for our clients. Meanwhile, we're reading the most horrific things on our phones that are happening in parts of the world and the country, and we have to keep going. Right. And so that is really a mindset piece. That is a nervous system regulation. That is a how are we taking care of ourselves in the midst of all this? That's a big piece of what we're dealing with, I think, in 2026. And then the secondary piece is, again, like I said, how our clients are receiving their own information about this industry. A lot of it is through channels that wedding pros have been really hesitant to get involved in, like TikTok, like Reddit, even Instagram, to the extent that the clients need us to be promoting ourselves. And so I think we're at a real crossroads, right? With the wedding businesses that are successful right now are the ones that are willing to put themselves out there on video, frankly, and put their thought leadership out in the world in a confident way, or listen, not even in a confident way, in a consistent way. The confidence comes. And I think those two things are what's really weighing heavily on people. And I don't know how this is in the UK, but I know in the States, we're also experiencing another year of it being kind of slow.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of picked up a little
Okay,
bit
good.
here, but it is still not hugely fast because of all the
Yeah.
economic stuff that's going on, because
Yes.
of the uncertainty all over the world. It's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, I'd say it's better than 2025 here, but yeah, it's still not big. But then I feel like we're still living in this like false economy of looking back at the last few years where we had a bump.
Agreed.
And so actually it's quite difficult to know what a normal year is. And also the other thing I've been talking about a lot, and I'm sure you're seeing it, is because buying habits has changed, because the way that people shop is changing, just the whole buying cycle is so different. And
So
people
different.
are having shorter engagements that actually it's
Yes.
quite hard to compare year on year, because you can go into a year quiet, but those people just haven't even got engaged yet, and they're still going to book
Yeah.
you this year.
100%. And then I'm also seeing, this is anecdotal, but I'll mention it anyway. Like there are a lot of there's been an uprising of a lot of like luxury networking events coming up. So it's like business is down. The client cycle of booking is different now. Social media is on the rise. The world is uncertain. And yet we have these like luxury networking groups that are like, come pay $2,000 to come network with us in Mexico. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like none of this seems like, it all seems so incongruous with one another. Like what? So like, if you're feeling that pressure of like, oh, everyone must be doing so well to be jetting off to Italy to go network. Like I think you can remove that from the equation. I don't think that's real.
Sometimes, though, I think people are looking for a golden bullet. So when they're struggling and they see that and they think, if I get in that room, that's going to be the answer to all my problems. I need to spend thousands more to get the answers. And actually, what I've been doing a lot at the moment in one-to-ones is actually stripping stuff out of people's businesses and going,
Yeah.
let's look at your finances. Okay, you're not making money. How can we reduce your costs? Because
Yes.
ultimately in business, sometimes it's the simple things like let's raise our profit by lowering our costs rather than
Yes.
the secret successes that don't actually exist.
Well, and let's do some more homegrown marketing again. Like going back to this videos. Like everyone has a phone. You have a camera. You have a tripod. You have a recording studio. You're done. Go make some videos. Like it only gets easier once you do it, and it's free.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
visibility then, because I think that is a struggle that's going on right now, is that the more people panic, the less visible they become, and therefore the less
Yeah.
successful they become. And we know that pros need to be visible. You love talking about visibility. So what
Love
do you
it.
think in 2026 it means? What does visibility mean? What does it look like?
It really is putting your perspective on what you do out in the world in a way that you are controlling. Right. And that's you're creating your own content. And what I mean by perspective, right, is you and I both know there are thousands and thousands of wedding pros in the world. And if you look at many of the websites and if someone were to think about like, oh, I wonder why this wedding planner does weddings, most of the people are like, I do it because I really love weddings, which is not enough. It's not, tell me who you are. Tell me what got you here. Tell me what you uniquely bring to the table. Tell me your perspective on things. I want to know. I want to know, what brought you to this point in your career. When I was a wedding planner, something that I talked about a lot in consults and social media on my website is that like I came into wedding planning as a former actor and theater director, and I worked in fine dining and hospitality. Those two very unique things merged together as I was a wedding planner who absolutely cared about the experience your guests were having, because I absolutely cared about things like flow and timing and the quality of the food and the temperature of the food. Like I cared about the napkin fold. I cared if the knife were facing the right way. My clients probably didn't care about that, but they cared that I cared about it. And that's the important part. What is the perspective that you have? Why are you a floral designer? Why are you a stationer? Why are you an officiant? What brought you here? We want to hear everyone's unique stories. Otherwise, you're just a checkbox on a list that they're checking, going, yeah, fine, I booked an officiant.
Is so true. And I think particularly with social media, and let's talk about Instagram because it's probably the place most people listening are the most comfortable with, although we are trying to encourage them over to TikTok a little bit. But
Yes.
on Instagram, I think people are still posting on Instagram like it's 2016. I think
really
they're so
are.
scared about having this perfect aesthetic, which
It's done.
and it's done. So
It's done.
visibility in 2026 is not about the perfect aesthetic anymore, is it? It's about the
No.
personality. It's about the action. And it's about just being a bit silly.
It's about that. And you know what I always say? I say this to the people in my membership and my community. I say this to people I coach. Everyone in the world is looking for that moment when they say to themselves, oh my God, me too. When they're listening to your video and they're like, oh my God, me too. I do that. I posted a silly little reel like a week ago where I was talking about how even though I am an international speaker and I travel multiple times a month, like I forget something every time. And I had a video on my phone from last November where I was in Seattle and I had forgotten to pack my glasses. So I had my contacts in and I wanted to put on my glasses and I forgot them. Now, granted, I was only away from home for one night, but I made a talking head, which is just when you talk to camera, about how I forget things. And I kept it in my phone forever. Didn't think it was really usable. And then the other day I was like, I want to post something. This is cute. Do you know how many people DM'd me to be like, oh my God, I do this too. Oh my God. One of our mutual friends, Megan, told me she was at dinner with some mutual friends and they said, oh my God, did you see Renee's reel? I do that too. We're all just looking for that. Yeah, me too. Oh, I do that too. That we all want to see that we're not alone.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what's interesting with the visibility thing is I think some of the pushback is that people don't want to get on video. They don't want to get in front of the video camera.
I know.
But also the frustration I have, and you probably have it the same, is 2, 3, 4 years ago. And for the last 2, 3, 4 years, people have been saying to me, Becca, I wish I could reach people that don't follow me on Instagram. On Instagram, the only people that ever see my posts are the people that follow me. And now the Instagram algorithm is allowing us to post out videos to people that don't follow us. And everyone says, I wish the algorithm went back to how it was before.
Everybody always wants what they can't have. Here's the thing about video and people who don't post video. And I'm going to say something people are not going to like, but I think you'll agree with me. When I meet someone in real life, like I was speaking in Cleveland, Ohio the other night, I will then meet them. I'll follow them on Instagram. And because I've probably met 20 people that night, I will then go into their Instagram and remind myself who they are. And if there is no video of them talking to camera, I really don't remember them. Like there is another layer here of social media where you're reinforcing who you are in person online or vice versa. People see you online and then they meet you in person and you're reinforcing that you are in fact the same person in both. Same personality, same perspective, same vibe, being in the same. But if you don't have any video and I'm like immediately like, oh God, who was that person? Do I remember them? Forget even referring them because I'm not going to refer them if I can't remember them. But it's just another level. We have to think of it as not just like, I don't know, this thing we're forced to do, this like albatross. We have to think of it as this is just another layer for people to get to know me and what I do, because no one is going to buy from someone that they don't know, like, or trust.
Yeah, it's just another tool and it's a great way to get in front of
Yes.
people. What do you think are the barriers that are stopping web pros doing this? What are you seeing on the
Oh
ground?
my
What
gosh,
are the
Becca.
pushbacks?
I mean, just there's a laundry list. I mean, literally just did a live call with my members like 30 minutes ago. And I have a member who's been a member I've known her for years. And she's so hesitant to put her face on camera. And one of the things she said today was like, well, I'm really sick of my face and my voice. And the other members said, but we don't know what you look like, because she's never come to camera, even on a Zoom. So it's like she had this idea that like, well, she's sick of it, and so other people must be as well. But other people were like, we don't even feel like we know you really, right? So that's number one. Like, we all think that we are somehow less than in some way, right? Either we're too boring, or we're too ordinary, or we're too ugly, or we're too old, or we're too young, or we're too whatever, fill in the blank. Whatever you're thinking, someone else is thinking it too. I will tell you, for my mindset, that's mostly also always false, because no one is ever thinking about you the way that you're thinking about you. No one's looking at me right now and being like, wow, those eye bags, she must be tired. They're listening to what I'm saying, right? If I never got on camera because of my eye bags, then people would never learn anything from me. Think about everything you're not putting out in the world. Think about the fact that not putting something out is negatively impacting someone else's experience because they didn't get to hear from you that day. You know, the fear of putting yourself out there, a lot of it is how we look. Some of it is how we sound. Some of it is, you know, not knowing if we have the right message, if it's going to be received wrong. I don't know if you hear this, but everyone's always like, what about the haters? I'm like, what about the haters? What about them? Like, if they don't like you, they're going to unfollow you. It's very rare that someone's going to be like, you're the worst in a comment. And if they do, guess what? You can delete those.
100%. I think it's this fear. I think it's two pronged. It's the fear of what I look like, and therefore I don't want to be on camera. And then the fear of I need to have this aesthetic grid because that's what I had to do 4 years ago. And I'm scared of messing it up. And so I cannot stress this message enough. Your lovely aesthetic grid means nothing anymore.
It's over. It's over. And listen, if you're really hung up on it, if you're like, I couldn't possibly, get a pretty photo and smack it on the front of your reel as a reel cover and move on. Move on. The other thing too, Becca, and I think I'd love to hear your perspective on this because I know you have a content creator in-house. The people who are the most scared are the people who are posting the least. Because once you get into the act of posting, doesn't it feel kind of like freedom a bit?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I mean, the thing is, I think it's because of the algorithm change, it's opened up a whole new world of possibility. So now when you spend time creating this video or having someone create the video for you, then it's reaching a whole new people and you're actually seeing results rather than just talking into a vacuum. And that's what used to happen. If you didn't have followers, you were just talking to the same people over and over. And I love now that it's opened up. And I think in the wedding industry, particularly when we're looking for new people all of the time, because people are only getting married once on the whole, or definitely only using us once, then we have to keep reaching new people. And so wedding industry, listen, you should be leaning into this. You should be embracing it, and you should be taking messy action. Just do it. You've been on your own visibility journey, Renee. So have I. I feel like both of us are the kind of personalities where we're like, let's just try stuff. Let's just do it. Let's just see what happens. So what have you found by doing that?
Oh my gosh. Well, number one, I'll say anecdotally, and I know I'm in a slightly different lane because my Instagram is focused on me as a speaker and educator. So I will say, I'll give that caveat before I say what I'm about to say. But I put myself on a visibility sort of challenge a couple of years ago where I was like, I'm going to post every day for 30 days and see what happens. I was really thinking that nothing would happen. I was like, it's going to be a bust. No, it was not a bust. In 30 days, I gained like 2,000 followers. My reach skyrocketed. I was getting DM'd about opportunities like going to speak somewhere or doing a summit or being on a podcast, like almost every day. This year in 2026, I remain on a challenge. I've been 50% successful. I wanted to start posting twice a day. I wanted to see if I increase my production, what that would do. And I will say, this is like, again, anecdotally, because I don't have a ton of data. It's only February, but I'm curious to see at year's end what happens. My reach has skyrocketed again. Every single time I post something, a video, I get some sort of movement. Someone downloads a freebie. I get a DM about, are you available for this date? Someone's like, oh, hey, what about your membership? Is it open? Can I join it? Like, because I'm present and because I'm active and obviously engaged in the platform, I'm speaking specifically about Instagram now. The algorithm, the Instagram gods, right? They know this is a channel that is active for me. And so it remains active. And when I say that, people are always like, oh my God, you get booked every day. No, but I get interest every day. And that's how it starts.
Yeah, and also because then you're the person that's creating the content, you're the person that keeps popping up. And that's what people are saying to me. Becca, every time I go on Instagram, your face is there. I'm like,
Yeah.
great news. I'm really
Great.
pleased. And I think,
Yes.
again, to your point, yes, we're both educators, therefore the way we're doing Instagram is different. However, if people who are listening, if you're doing content that resonates with your ideal clients in the same way me and Renee are doing it for our ideal clients, which are all of you listening, if you're
Yeah.
doing things that make the couples go, me too, that's exactly what I want, exactly as Renee said, then you will get engagement. There's a celebrant here in the UK who does some great content and gets really good engagement. There's a magician who's just gone mad on TikTok at the moment here in the UK because he's doing great content and he's showing
Yeah.
up all of the time. And I think there are so few examples of wedding business owners doing this well, and actually that's a good thing for those of you listening, because if you lean into it and you go for it and you take the messy action and you just try it, and like
Yeah.
Renee says, then test it and look at the data and look at the results,
Yep.
then you will actually see some movement. Now, Renee, do you want to hear a negative story about my social media posting?
I do.
I'm going to give you all the tea.
Tell
So
me.
I have a son. He is 12 years old, which is a
Oh,
very tender age, and he has no social media access, which is great. However, not all parents parent in the same way as me. And he found out recently that on his school trip, his peers were all back to back binge watching my Instagram videos. The poor child. But you know what his response was? And I was like, yes, son, this is great. He went, keep on watching them because the more you watch it, the better they do and the more holidays I can go on.
I love it. I love it. Can I tell you? So I have some family that lives in Manchester. I think I've mentioned this to you before. I have my two little nieces, Holly and Frankie. They are 3. I think they're 3.5. And so I don't get to see them often because I live here in California. And so their mom, my cousin, told me that they watch my Instagram videos. They like, Mummy, we want to see Renee. And then they just like watch all my videos. And so I'm like, wow, I have to be careful what I'm saying because like there are children watching now. But I think it's very sweet that like children in our lives know that we are people beyond them, outside of them, right? We have lives and interests, and we're like, we're well known on the internet, blah blah blah. But it's interesting, I think, for kids to have that perspective. I
And
love
that's
it.
going to be the world that they live in, right? That is how
Yes.
the world is going. That's the world they're used to. They all watch vlogs and things like that on
Yeah.
YouTube. They all follow these content creators of various forms. And so to them, actually, it's kind of normal. It's actually our generation that are going,
Yeah.
we don't want to do this. We're kind of awkward about it.
It's true. It's Gen X and elder millennial. I mean, boomers, yes, but like we're the ones who are just like, I don't know. I feel like stop feeling, just do. Two things. I have a question for you. I want to ask you because I find this to be true. I find the act of content creation to be extremely creative. Like it really scratches an itch for me that I get very jazzed. I get very lit up when I have a good idea. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I love to do a good bit of content creation. Now, obviously, you're doing it differently to me because I am hiring someone. And so we
Right.
go and a couple of weeks ago, we went to the venue for Wed Pros Live. We spent 90 minutes. And why I get the buzz is like, how many videos can we create in 90 minutes?
Yes.
We got 50 videos done in 90 minutes of my time. And I was like, yes, that is a record. And I get the buzz out of that. Like, let's feel one take wonder. Let's try it from this angle.
Yes.
And the great thing for me is that the lovely Simona then takes it all away, edits it all, and puts it on the
Yes.
internet, which I do understand for people is a big job. But as I always say to people, you got to spend in business either time or money. If you don't have the money, spend the time creating your own content. If you
That's
do
right.
have the money, pay someone else and get back your own time. But you
Yes.
can't avoid it. You've got to do one or the other.
No, and one of the things that I teach, and I teach it because I believe it. Two things: we have to start creating content by structure, not mood. You cannot wait
Yes.
until you're in the right mood, or I'll do it tomorrow when I feel better. Or, I do think aesthetically, like there are times, days and times, like if I'm already have a little lipstick on for this, I'm probably going to go make some videos after this. Like that is logical sense to me. But if I waited around until I felt like making a video, I probably wouldn't make as many. So I have structure around it. I have a couple of rules for myself. Can I share them with you? They're going to sound a
Please
little bit
do.
bananas. So number one, my biggest rule is that I turn my camera, and I just mean my phone. I just mean my iPhone 17. I turn my camera on myself once a day and I record me talking to camera for like 30 seconds. Sometimes it's nonsense. Sometimes it never gets shown. But every so often, I come up with a gem that even 6 months from now, I'll be like, didn't I say something about wedding florals that one day? I'll go find it. But I had to get used to my own face on camera. I had to get used to like where I like to hold the phone, you know, what lighting I like. Like I had to learn myself in that way. Now I do it every day as a practice. One, because I want to stay in practice, but also because then I'm never out of content. Sometimes the 30 seconds is just me putting the tripod up while I'm typing and it's just doing B-roll. But every day I'm recording a tiny little something. And I literally mean like 30 seconds. I'm not here for an hour or 90 minutes. But then on Sundays, which is my preferred day because I don't have kids, I record for like an hour. I'll do talking heads and then I'll edit. So I do a couple of hours on a Sunday, but that's also when I plan out what I'm going to post for the week. So I'm not every day thinking, oh, what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about today? I do all that thinking and I use ChatGPT on Sundays to kind of organize my thoughts. So I have it down to a system so that I never have to beat myself up about like, oh, you should have posted today. Like it's kind of on its own cadence now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think actually anyone that's still in that rhythm of just posting when they feel like it or posting on the day just randomly, that is the hardest way to do it.
Yep.
Absolutely. For me, batching a month at a time, for you batching a week at a time, it makes a difference because then you know you've got the stuff. It can go out, you're being visible, and then you can work on other stuff. Because in a wedding business, people have got a whole lot of other stuff to work on. It's not just about being visible, but we've got to overcome the perfectionism.
We do. And I will say most of the time I'm doing a week at a time because I'm traveling a lot and I want to stay sort of nimble to kind of open. But in December of 2025, that whole month was done. I did the whole month by December 2nd and it was done. And I was traveling, visiting family. I didn't have to worry about it once. It was so nice.
Yeah, it is very freeing. Now, Renee, very soon you are coming over the water, over to this fair land, and you are coming to both London and Ireland. And I want to know, so and I've asked the other American speakers this, what are you most excited about seeing or doing in Ireland and London other than the conference?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you know, I'm traveling with Megan and Leah, and in this particular relationship of best friends, I am what we call the passenger princess, in that they make the decisions and I just like show up for them. So apparently, we're going to the Book of Kells, right?
Nice.
And the Guinness tour.
Yes, the Guinness Factory. That's the thing everyone does in Dublin.
We are doing those, and I'm excited. Even though I don't drink, I'm excited for those. I just am excited to be in Dublin. I've never been, so I'm also a museum girly. Like if I'm going to sneak off and go to a museum because that's my preferred thing. It's not really Leah and Megan's bag, but it's mine. So you'll see me like wandering off. But no, I love traveling. I love traveling with my girls, and I love conferences. I love conferences that are not in the U.S. because I love talking to wedding pros that are not in markets I usually get to speak to. I love it.
Well, we're excited to have you. And what are you going to do when you're in London? Have you got any afternoon teas planned?
We do with my cousin. She's never been to Fortnum and Mason, so we're taking her there. I know. Like, how have you lived here for so long and never done it? I also, this is like, I'm really telling you about myself here. I am obsessed with the UK makeup artist, Lisa Eldridge. And she has a makeup line that I can get it here, but I can't try anything here because she doesn't have any counters. And so I will be at Harrods at her counter, like, hello, do my makeup. And so that is always my highlight of London, to be like, please give me the UK, all the good UK makeup. But I don't know. I feel like we've been coming over to visit you so many years in a row now that like, I feel like we've done the touristy stuff now. So we've got to dig in deep and find some like, deeper cuts on what to do when we're there.
Well, yes, we're always excited to have you. And I know that people are excited to hear from you. And you are going to be speaking on the main stage about how to be 1% better every day. You're actually, I don't know if you know this yet, but you're actually closing out the conference, right? Towards the end of the day, just before my little closing 5-minute and the themed Becca pink sparkly cocktail.
I love it.
That is going to be you.
I love talking about 1% better because I think we as a society, but also we as wedding pros, we tend to think in absolutes, right? Like I need to overhaul my whole thing or it's nothing or it's shit. And that isn't true. There are many ways in every single facet of your business where if you just made 1% level ups over time, compounded by time, you would see that a lot of things change. Even what we mentioned earlier, like my 30 seconds a day, like that is a 1% level up. It is. You don't really have to change your whole life. You just need to be a little more aware to record yourself for 30 seconds a day. Something else that I started doing, this is going to show my age. So I'm a big like morning like habits. Like I have a lot of habits that happen in the morning. Like I meditate and I journal and I take my vitamins. And I like to putter around. Are you like a putterer or are you like a 5 a.m. person?
I am not a 5 a.m. person. I am
Okay,
a let's
good.
stay in bed as long as I can, and then I have to take my children to school.
If I had children, I'd be the same. I like to putter around the house and like do my little things. I recently started like last month. I found it on TikTok. But there is this whole thing on TikTok about like Tai Chi and like all these morning exercises that you do and this like lymphatic hops. And then you're doing like arm windmills and you're like tapping. It takes like 10 minutes. I've been doing it for a month. It's amazing. I don't even need coffee in the morning anymore.
That's
It's very
impressive.
energizing. On TikTok, you can search it. They call it like old Chinese grandma exercises.
Renee, I don't want to search on TikTok. I would like you to create some Instagram content so that I can watch you doing it.
I will now that I've done it enough that I feel like a lot of it is silly. That you're doing like squats and then you're jumping, but like it literally, you do each move for like 1 minute and 10 minutes later, you're like, okay, ready for the day. It's great.
And it's making your day 1% better.
It is. It is. No more
So-
back. I don't have any back problems anymore. Like I'm very nimble now.
Well, that's good. So in that talk then, which areas of business are you going to be trying to make people 1% better at? Or is it a bit of everything?
It's going to be a little bit of everything, but to be honest, I focus a lot on our day to day. Like literally, what do you do first thing in the morning? Do you grab your phone? And is that really the best thing for your mind? Right? Is that really how we want to start the day? And if not, what can we do 1% better? Can the phone be on the other side of the room? Can the phone be in a different room? Can you just decide that you're going to drink water before you grab your phone? Like micro habits. A lot of this is based on the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, but I actually took the concepts there and I really put them into the lens of like, as a wedding pro, how can you be 1% better on a wedding day? How can you be 1% better in the consultation process? Like, what are these little tweaks? What I'd love, because I know conference days can be a lot. We're giving you a lot of information. I'm actually really glad that I'm last, actually, because I can sort of take what everyone else has said and put it into context of like, okay, what's 1% we can take from each of these things? And then next week, how can we day by day make 1% change a day? That's at the end of the week. That's 7%.
Exactly. Do you want to know something I did to make my days 1% better every single
Yes,
day?
please.
So I used to plug my laptop in and the plug socket was one side of my desk. And every time I had to like crawl under my desk and plug the computer in, and it was really annoying. And then I realized I could just put an extension cable on the other side of my desk and I don't need to do that anymore. And it's massively changed my life. I got frustrated with that every day for I don't know how many years until I realized I could just make this 1% better for myself by moving the
1%
plug socket.
better. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And there is a component of the talk, because I updated it for this year, that has a little bit to do with AI, just a little. I know ethically it's a gray area for some. People can have their opinion on that, but there are some things that I think, and I know, if we're using AI the right way to help us brainstorm or to collect data and have it analyze data, that's where it makes sense to me. So there is a point in the presentation where I give you a prompt to say, like, for a day, or perhaps more if you need to, write down your daily schedule, not what you have in your agenda, but what you actually do, and then give it to the robots and be like, what do you, where's there opportunity here? Where do you see that I'm being redundant or wasting time? Or, even if efficiency isn't your thing, maybe the goal is more joy, more space, more time with your kids, like whatever we're solving for, right? That can be put into the prompt. And so it can make more sense. I think a lot of times we just don't know that we're, I don't want to say wasting time, because I think we know everything we're doing is for a reason, but sometimes it's not serving the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's so true. I think it's going to be a great session. I think you're right. It's going to be a great thing to close out the day with, which is why I put it towards the end of the day.
You're so smart, Becca.
Because I knew it was going to be a great thing to end the day in. And it is going to be a phenomenal day in both Ireland and in London. Now, one of the things that I have thought very deeply about with Wed Pros Live, because I've spoken at a lot of conferences, you've spoken at a lot of conferences, conferences. For
Yes.
me, the first thing I wanted to get right was having really good speakers. And I think sometimes this is quite a hard quantifiable thing for people that are outside of the speaking world. When I say to them, I have really good speakers. And so I've been asking people on this podcast who are good speakers like yourself, what is it that you think makes a good speaker at a conference?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think that from the outside, especially for folks who aspire to be speakers, I think that there is a false idea that being a good speaker is somehow about you, about me. Like, I'm a good speaker because I care about me, or like I can talk about myself, which is 0% of the time true. Truly good speakers know that it is not about them. It is about the audience. It is about being of service. It is about how can I connect? And a truly good speaker can also read the room and know if what they're saying isn't connecting, how to finesse that so that it does, right? I think truly good speakers are in a conversation with the audience, right? They're not talking at the audience. And yeah, it's never about the speaker. And that is something I coach some aspiring speakers, and that's sort of the first thing we always have to knock down, because speakers come in and they want to tell a whole story about themselves and their whole life story and their history and why they're great. And I'm like, nobody cares. Like, truly nobody cares. They care about, can you help them? Can you help them transform something? Can you shed light on something that was a problem for them and help them look at it a different way? That's what moves people, not, hey, I was a really big deal back in California. Like, okay, who cares?
Yeah, and we've all been to too many conferences or been frustrated that we haven't been invited to speak at too many conferences where there is a lot of speakers like that, where for some reason we have this idea that if we bring someone in to speak who is very successful in their wedding business and made millions of pounds, but is the most boring person to listen to ever, that that's a good idea. But actually, as an attendee, we don't care about that person's life. Like, they have to do something incredibly sensational for me to care. And if they did, I still want a lesson in there that I'm taking away. And I think we've all spent too many hours sat listening to someone else rant at us and thought, well, I haven't taken anything from this.
Yeah, I also think too, there's this whole concept about, as a speaker, you have to talk about things that have happened to you, not when they're a wound, but when they're a scar. Like, you can't talk about things that are fresh, right? Because you don't have the perspective on it. You don't have the lesson yet. If it just happened, right, and you're still learning from it, you can't teach that. So you kind of have to draw from your own experiences, but only in a way that can help other people connect to the message. You can't just be talking nonsense up there thinking that it's entertaining or funny, because it almost never is.
Yeah. Or you can have really good stuff to say, but your delivery can be so dry and boring that you've lost the room. And we all know when we're losing a room. If you're a good speaker, you know when you're losing the room, and you know the tricks to hook people right back in.
It's true. I think too, maybe some people fall into the trap of like, this is a business conference and we have to be serious business people and I have to be very serious. And it's like, yeah, okay, but also boring. Don't be boring.
Well, anyone that's coming to Wed Pros Live hopefully knows by now that it's not going to be serious, because there's going to be me in my sparkly dress at the helm of it all with theatre themed programs. It's going to be a blast for us theatre lovers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So talking about conferences then, obviously this is my first time running a big old event like this. I think I'm insane. I don't know why I'm doing it, but it's all coming together. In fact, by the time this goes out, I think London will be well and truly sold out. At the time of recording, I think we have like 9 or 10 tickets left out of 170. So it is going. But what, in your opinion, as both a speaker and an attendee, makes a great event?
Oh, wow. I think that is, wow, that's a great question. I think it has to come from the top, right? And I think you're a great person to run a conference because you have a wonderful perspective on this whole thing, because you're building a community. That's what you're doing when you're hosting a conference, whether you think it or not, right? Conference producers are building a community. Community can be built despite the producer, which we've seen happen, right? Or it can be built from proximity to the event, which we've also seen happen. But if you're creating something from scratch, you have to understand that you are building the community. And so for me as a speaker, when I'm invited into someone's community, I never take that lightly. But I am also looking, again, for like, how can I be of service here? How can I give into the community and not take from the community? Because that's not why I'm there. Now, when I am attending, then my perspective is like, how can I be a good member of this community, right? Like, how can I find the people that I think I'm going to mesh with the best? Like, I need to find my own little team of besties if I don't already have them, but also like, how can I put into this community so that I can learn what it's about? It's funny, I'm actually attending a really big conference here in California. It's called the Social Media Marketing World. I've never even, it wasn't even on my radar, but then our mutual friend Elizabeth, who'll be speaking with us as well, is speaking there. So she and I were talking, and I was like, I do want to go to that because so much of my work is about visibility and social media now. Let me go be a student, because I think you feel this way. It's pretty rare that we get to be students these days. And it's really fascinating to see. This community is thousands of people. And like, it's been interesting in the last 2 weeks, sort of navigating who I will be in this community and how I want to participate and how extroverted I am, naturally an extrovert, but how extroverted I want to be versus when do I sit back and allow other people to be in the community. So it's been an interesting time. And I really love that. I do think we have a responsibility to the communities we join to be present. And that is not always as easy as it sounds. So that's kind of what I'm always looking for. Like for me on these days in both Dublin and London, my job is always to be like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm open. Let's see what the day brings.
Yeah. And a bit like everything we've talked about today, the people that show up to that day as attendees with a reason to be there, with a desire to be visible, to show up, to not be distracted, to come with a positive mindset, to be open to ideas, to be open to talking to the people left and right of them and not feeling like they need to be in their cliques, and to just show up as they are, because that's like the whole thing about what I'm about is I'm like, I don't care what you come dressed in. You can come in your pajamas if you want, but show up with the open heart, open mind, and ready to learn and be ready, to challenge. Like, I love it as a speaker if someone challenges some of my ideas and in the right way, and we can have a great, healthy discussion about it. We don't just need to sit there and be passive, listening to what someone says and going, yes, yes, yes. If you don't agree with something, start a discussion, start a debate.
I want a debate. Let's do it. Yeah.
Like, not in a mean way, but in a positive, healthy way. And I think, I think as much on the event organizer and the speakers is the participants, because if the people who are coming into that room don't show up in the right energy, the whole thing will fall flat. So if you're listening to this, show up with the right energy, ready to learn, because I'm putting on a show for you. You guys are going to absolutely love it, but you got to show up ready and willing to participate, not in anything scary, but to just be open to talk to people around you and to make new friends and to just hear what people have to say on the day. Can
I give one piece of advice for the attendees?
Please do.
So I think, so I'm an extrovert, as I said, and I think you are as well too, right, Beck? You're an extrovert? Yeah. I think for the extroverts who are coming, right, I always think as an extrovert, it's my job to be a bit of a connector. So if I see someone on the outskirts of the room who I kind of get the vibe they want to participate, but like I will cross the room and be like, hi, I'm Renee. Is there anyone here you want to meet? What are you here for? Do you want to meet? I will make the connection because I have no hesitation for that. I'm not scared of that, right? If for the introverts that are coming, right, look for the extroverts. Go make friends with the loud people. We'll take you under our wing. We'll help you. But what I'm saying is, if you're on the outskirts, don't stay on the outskirts. Move to the center of the room. Find a little friend, right? If I see you at the edge of the room, I'm going to cross and be like, hello, what do you need? How can I help? And, if you're like, hey, leave me alone, great. But I think we need to play to our strength, right? Extroverts are natural connectors. So please go make connections.
Yes, so true. And if you are there and you're feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling anxious and you want to get more involved, go find someone from my team, go find one of the speakers and just say, hey, I feel a bit anxious. Can you help me connect with people? And we love doing that. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do at an event is to be like, meet you, because you're going to get on like a house on fire.
Yes. Or not even if meeting is too much, right? If someone came to you and they were like, I'm feeling a little anxious to be here, I'll be like, what do you need? Should we go sit down? Let's have a cup of tea. Let's walk the space. Let's just walk around. Let's go look at something. Like, let's get engaged with the physical environment too. Like, it's not always about having to chat with someone else if you don't want to. But yeah, come find me if you're not feeling 100%. Like, I will take care of you. No worries.
I love it. I love it. It's going to be such a good day. Now, why do you think people should prioritize industry events as a whole? So not just my event, but just industry events in general. I feel like there's people who love going to events and go to all of them. And there's other people that just count themselves out and think they're pointless. Why do you think people should pay attention to them?
I've always loved a good industry event. I think different things happen in the room. I think there is a magic. It sounds so corny when I say that, but it's true. I think that there is a little bit of magic that happens in the room when creative people get together together that you can't replicate on a Zoom or on Instagram. As powerful as those tools are, when people are in the room together and they're really getting to know one another and they're really just engaging with the material, but also each other, right? That's a different kind of bond that you can't replicate. And I think the folks who maybe look down on industry events maybe have gone into them with a different mindset, perhaps the wrong mindset. I know in my market, there are people who are like, I've been attending that event for years and I never get any business out of it. And I'm like, right, but are you just running around the room saying, book me, book me, book me, book me, trying to meet 100 people? Or are you making like 5 deep connections with people? Because you'll get more business and more mileage and more referrals out of those 5 deep connections than you will the 100 people who now have your business card. You know, it's not meaningful. You can't just, we call that spraying and praying here. You can't just spray and pray.
I call that the business card thrower. I'm like, do not be the business card thrower at an event. There's always at least one person that just walks around the room, doesn't even engage in a conversation, and just chucks their card at you. And you know what happens to that card in my life? It just goes straight in the bin, and it's a waste on the planet.
Yeah, I don't do, I mean, even at Wedding MBA, people try to give me their cards, and I'm like, just follow me on Instagram. I'm never gonna, no offense, I'm never gonna look at that card and have a memory of you because it's not connected to anything.
Yeah, and in person, I find always you have a deeper connection, deeper relationship quicker with people. And again, in our industry, relationship is everything. Referrals, everything. And so meet people.
And I'll say this, you know, yes, in our industry, but also in every industry, relationships are everything. I live in Los Angeles. I live in Hollywood. My husband's in the entertainment industry. It's 99.9% relationships. That's it. Like it isn't a mystery once you're in it. It is relationships. So if you're listening and you're like, haven't really found your footing in Dublin or London, and you're just like, I don't have my people yet, come to the event because these are your people.
Yeah, 100%. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. It's not long now. I'm thrilled that you're going to be in person with me in both Ireland and London. It's going to be fun. And if you are listening to this and there are any tickets left, go to wedproslive.com and you can grab one. If not, and the tickets are all gone, then you can join a waiting list for 2027 because you never know. I might do it again if I'm crazy enough. We'll see. We'll see. Renee, I always end my podcast with the same question. And I actually asked you this last time you were on the podcast, and I've written down what your response was. So I'm going to ask you the question again. I'm going to hear what your response is for 2026, and we'll see if it's the same or not, or whether you've evolved into a new thought process. So the question I always ask is, what's one thing you personally wish you'd known sooner in your own business?
Oh my gosh. Now I'm like immediately wondering what I said. For me in my own business, I'm going to take it from the coaching and education business, not the wedding planning business lens, because I started speaking in 2016 and I started speaking at Wedding MBA in 2018. But it took me until like 2021, I think, to even start an Instagram for that part of my business. Like I didn't have, I was like, oh, it's a little side hustle. It's a little side hustle. And I wish that I would have set it up to be more visible from the beginning. I feel like I had to do some catch up, you know, to be like, because even now with my Instagram, people are like, oh, I thought you'd have more followers. And I'm like, well, I only started it. And you're like, if I had just started it at the same time. But I do always say, that I wish I would have started on TikTok in 2020. Ooh, like when TikTok became like a household name in 2020 and everyone was like on the internet dancing, I literally said to my husband, I'm a serious business owner. I'm not doing that. And honestly, I would probably be in a completely different, income bracket had I started. So I just was too scared, and that's dumb. I should not have been so scared.
But also, we never know what the next one's going to be, because then we can all jump on a platform and we're like, we'll be the first ones, and then it goes absolutely nowhere. And then
like Clubhouse.
Like Clubhouse, like Threads,
right.
You just don't know. Hindsight is always a good thing. I'll tell you what you said last time, which is kind of along the same lines. You said that the thing you wish you'd known sooner is to just be authentically yourself at all times.
Yeah. That was a really big early lesson for me as a wedding planner, because originally I tried to be like so alternative and like hip, and I'm not. Like I'm like a normal middle-aged woman. Like my views are very progressive, right? Like, but my aesthetic is very like Ann Taylor. So when I would go to these bridal events that were like offbeat bride and anti-romance. I was just like the most normal person there, normal, quote unquote, looking person there. And it just wasn't connecting. It took me a while to realize that like my views could be alternative and progressive, but my personal style was very like Ralph Lauren. Like those didn't match.
I love it. And what I love about the way you're showing up on Instagram at the moment, and hopefully the way I'm showing up as well, is we're just being authentically ourselves. Like what you see with Renee and me online is what you get when you see us in person, whether it's on stage in a glamorous outfit or just sat eating like chicken and chips.
Eating mac and cheese in my Taylor Swift sweatshirt. Is what it is. The best compliment I can get, and it happened the other night in Cleveland, is someone was like, "You look exactly the same." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just, this is my face." Like, yeah, it's still me. It's just very funny. Like, we're the same people.
My favorite one, though, that I get all the time, and I've said this on stage before, is people say to me, "Oh, you're taller than you are on Zoom. You're taller than you are on Instagram." I'm like, you can't see my height on social media. Like, I'm sitting down.
And I get the opposite. People go, "I thought you'd be taller." I'm like, "I know, I have tall energy."
Isn't it funny how people have these random opinions of us? But, you know, it's all good fun. Renee, it's been a blast chatting to you. I'm so excited to see you very soon. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you very shortly.
See you soon.
Such a great conversation with Renee. I always love chatting to her. She's so much fun. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram, do go. I'll make sure I put all of her links in the show notes so you can go and check her out. And as I said earlier, if there's any tickets left at all, they're going to be going like hotcakes. So go to wedproslive.com and we hope to see you in the room in either Ireland or in London. I'll see you all next time.